Alright, finishing up a few things tonight on the 406 project. Got the oil pan painted. I think that came out pretty nice. It looks a lot better. It's the 6-quart Summit Racing pan. I went over it in another video and really just kind of painted it up tonight. But what I was really working on was the intake manifold. I test fitted it. The ports lined up really well at the bottom. It's kind of hard for you to see, but if you look close, let's see if I can get another angle. There we go. They lined up perfect at the bottom, but if you look, I raised the top of the port on the intake to get them lined up better on the top of the intake. Basically, the AFR cylinder head, the intake itself, the port wasn't quite tall enough. But that was easy enough. I raised them about 70 thousandths, traced it with my gasket, because my gasket lined up great to the cylinder head, and then I can line it up on the intake and see the difference of where I needed to raise it up higher, basically up here in the top of the port. Basically for me when I do that, let's see if I can find it here. I have a aluminum specific bit, and this thing works great. If you don't have a bit like this, I highly recommend getting one. It just cuts through aluminum like nothing. I do still use the air compressor. You can get these in electric, and if you're going to be doing a lot of porting, I'd recommend the electric if you're not running your compressor all the time. But overall, this intake fit great, and like I said in previous videos, I was thinking about going with the Victor Junior. I did some porting on the Victor Junior, but the Victor Junior was never going to make as much horsepower as what this intake would. This intake's good for about 10 to 14, 15 more horsepower over a Victor Junior, but hood clearance is key. This intake's quite a bit taller. It's about 3/4 of an inch to 7/8 of an inch taller. I did measure it, and it does look like it'll fit just fine, so that's why I ended up going with this intake. But overall, I think this build will make that 560, 570 horsepower. Our original goal was only 550. And again, it's a pump gas 406, AFR 220 cylinder heads, hydraulic roller cam. So just a real good street friendly engine. But a few more tips on the intake install. Always put sealer in the corners. And then I use the cork gaskets on the ends when I can. If you look closely, the cork is actually in there. And it's just a small layer of sealer across the top. But yeah, this Strip Dominator intake, I think it's a really nice piece. I think you absolutely could port it and really make it a crazy good piece, but in this application, what we did, I spent, like I said, an hour and a half on it, and it came out great. You could do more, it'd be good for a couple more horsepower, but this is going to do everything we want. I don't like leaving horsepower on the table, but you've also got to be, I don't know, somewhat economical with your time. And I feel like if I would have put a ton of time in this intake, it's kind of wasting my time at that point. There's not enough gain to be worth spending that much time. But yeah, this thing's almost finished up. A few more things to do on it, but getting excited to get it finished up, but also not in a huge hurry to get it in the car. I'll probably put it on the run stand and fire it up that way. But yeah, hopefully this helps some people. And again, this is really just reviewing the Strip Dominator intake. I think it's a great piece. I've seen the dyno results with it, and if you look online, you can kind of see some testing and results. It's one of the best single plane intakes, and for this application, it'll be perfect. Hopefully this helps a few people and also gives you kind of an update of where we're at with this build process. Thanks.